Hello, everyone. This is Evie, the Sponge Reviewer here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. Today, I'm here to review the new episode of SpongeBob that had came out on digital before its release, coming out this Thursday, and that is the season 13 premiere of A Place for Pets and Lockdown for Love. Now, both episodes were actually pretty decent, and if you guys would like to see this episode, I will drop the link in the description below. And yeah, so because this episode had came out on digital before its air on Nickelodeon, but that's how it is most of the time. So, in A Place for Pets, Mr. Krabs decides to make pets allowed in the Krusty Krab, and lots of things occurred, such as Squidward being allergic to those pets. There was a song sung in the episode called "Pets Are People Too," sung by the health inspector from Nasty Patty. Yes, there's a lot of characters that made a return cameo in this episode, such as the health inspector, Craig Mamilton, that weird pink fish lady from Krusty Catering. I don't care who her name is because I really don't care. But yeah, this episode was actually pretty decent. I actually really liked this episode. There was actually a really funny moment in the episode where Sandy had a cameo where she had a pet Alaskan bullworm, and the Alaskan bullworm ended up terrorizing the restaurant, so Sandy ended up being broke and she had to eat nuts in a can. That was actually a really funny joke. So overall, I'm gonna give A Place for Pets. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It was a pretty good episode and I really enjoyed it. Now, Lockdown for Love is another episode that I really enjoyed. And actually, if I can call correctly, this is actually the first episode in a very long time where SpongeBob does not appear at all. That's right. Little spoiler right there. SpongeBob is not in this episode, and that's actually a really interesting thing because I was watching the episode hoping he'll be there, and they didn't throw him in. So I have to give credit to the writers for not throwing in SpongeBob in this episode because I predicted it before I saw this episode because I was talking to one of my Discord friends telling them that I hope SpongeBob isn't in this episode because he doesn't have to appear everywhere. And behold, he's not in this episode, so great. But anyways, Karen puts the chum bucket on lockdown when Plankton refuses to have a romantic date with her while he is trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. So there's lots of funny things that happen in this episode, such as Plankton disguising Patrick as Ray Ray, Plankton's disguise from Grandmom's the Word from season 11. It was nice to see Ray Ray return again. Um, I actually really did love the premise of this episode. I found this episode to be slightly better than Plankton Gets the Boot because I really didn't like that episode all that much, but I really did like Lockdown for Love. So, without going into any more spoilers beyond that point, I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because I really love this. I really liked this episode a lot. It was pretty funny, and it was actually a episode that had SpongeBob nowhere to be found. So SpongeBob wasn't in the episode. Just little spoilers there. So yeah. All right, so that's my review on A Place for Pets and Lockdown for Love. Sorry if it was a little bit weird, but I just wanted to bring it up. But yeah, so the link will be in the description below because I know most of you guys probably don't have cable television, and probably a link will be provided. So that's understandable because most people don't have cable nowadays, and that's why they are exposed to streaming services or links given by other users. So if you don't have cable, the link will be provided. But if you do have cable and you don't want to be spoiled by this episode and you will rather wait for it to air on Nickelodeon, then you'll have to wait till Thursday at 6:30 p.m. when the episode airs on Nickelodeon here in the United States. Alright, that's the review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more SpongeBob reviews whenever another one comes out in the near future. Hello, everyone. This is Evie, the Sponge Reviewer here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. Today, I'm here to review the new episode of SpongeBob that had came out on digital before its release, coming out this Thursday, and that is the season 13 premiere of A Place for Pets and Lockdown for Love. Now, both episodes were actually pretty decent, and if you guys would like to see this episode, I will drop the link in the description below. And yeah, so because this episode had came out on digital before its air on Nickelodeon, but that's how it is most of the time. So, in a place for pets, Mr. Krabs decides to make pets allowed in the Krusty Krab, and lots of things occurred, such as Squidward being allergic to those pets. There was a song sung in the episode called "Pets Are People Too," sung by the health inspector from Nasty Patty. Yes, there's a lot of characters that made a return cameo in this episode, such as the health inspector, Craig Mamilton, that weird pink fish lady from Krusty Catering. I don't care who her name is because I really don't care. But yeah, this episode was actually pretty decent. I actually really liked this episode. There was actually a really funny moment in the episode where Sandy had a cameo where she had a pet Alaskan bullworm, and the Alaskan bullworm ended up terrorizing the restaurant, so Sandy ended up being broke and she had to eat nuts in a can. That was actually a really funny joke. So overall, I'm gonna give a place for pets. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It was a pretty good episode and I really enjoyed it. Now, Lockdown for Love is another episode that I really enjoyed. And actually, if I can call correctly, this is actually the first episode in a very long time where SpongeBob does not appear at all. That's right. Little spoiler right there. SpongeBob is not in this episode, and that's actually a really interesting thing because I was watching the episode hoping he'll be there, and they didn't throw him in. So I have to give credit to the writers for not throwing in SpongeBob in this episode because I predicted it before I saw this episode because I was talking to one of my Discord friends telling them that I hope SpongeBob isn't in this episode because he doesn't have to appear everywhere. And behold, he's not in this episode, so great. But anyways, Karen puts the chum bucket on lockdown when Plankton refuses to have a romantic date with her while he is trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. So there's lots of funny things that happen in this episode, such as Plankton disguising Patrick as Ray Ray, Plankton's disguise from Grandmom's the Word from season 11. It was nice to see Ray Ray return again. Um, I actually really did love the premise of this episode. I found this episode to be slightly better than Plankton Gets the Boot because I really didn't like that episode all that much, but I really did like Lockdown for Love. So, without going into any more spoilers beyond that point, I'll give this episode I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because I really love this. I really liked this episode a lot. It was pretty funny, and it was actually a episode that had SpongeBob nowhere to be found. So SpongeBob wasn't in the episode. Just little spoilers there. So yeah. All right, so that's my review on A Place for Pets and Lockdown for Love. Sorry if it was a little bit weird, but I just wanted to bring it up. But yeah, so the link will be in the description below because I know most of you guys probably don't have cable television, and probably a link will be provided. So that's understandable because most people don't have cable nowadays, and that's why they are exposed to streaming services or links given by other users. So if you don't have cable, the link will be provided. But if you do have cable and you don't want to be spoiled by this episode and you will rather wait for it to air on Nickelodeon, then you'll have to wait till Thursday at 6:30 p.m. when the episode airs on Nickelodeon here in the United States. Alright, that's the review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more SpongeBob reviews whenever another one comes out in the near future. Hello everyone, this is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with a new SpongeBob SquarePants episode review for you guys today. And today I'll be reviewing the episode Goofy Scoopers. Now, this episode actually was leaked on a Russian streaming service, and I was kindly was able to watch the episode through a Mega Drive link, and I have to say that this is easily probably one of the best episodes in the entire series. And in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick basically reunites a animatronic band from Goofy Goobers known as the Goofy Scoopers, which consists of Bongo Bear, who is this freaking Freddy Fazbear reject. I mean, he's literally Freddy Fazbear, and I thought it was pretty funny. I pretty am aware that they probably got that inspired from Five Nights at Freddy's, so, well, that was pretty obvious, but yeah, Bongo Bear. Um, Then there's Clammy Clam or Clam or however you call his name. He plays the trumpet, and Rocktopus. He basically plays an upright piano. So the Goofy Scoopers is an old-time ragtime band, and because they're so outdated, the kids at Goofy Goobers do not like them anymore. But the only exception is SpongeBob and Patrick. So basically, the manager of Goofy Goobers kicks out the Goofy Scoopers, and they're left out on their own to find new jobs. So SpongeBob and Patrick basically reunites the band to bring them back again. And this is where the episode gets really, really good. There are lots of really cool references of this episode, such as the dump from the Lost Mattress. Filthy Muck from the Battle of the Filthy Muck made a small cameo in this episode. And I really did love the characters and the animatronics. This is by far, probably, in my opinion, one of the best episodes of the show. And this is exactly why I love post sequels so much. There are so many unique ideas that gets pushed over because, oh, it's not like the first 3 seasons. It's not funny anymore. At this point, people just needs to just be quiet about that. Is because that the episodes are really good. You have to see this episode just to prove you that post sequel is amazing. And I have to say this is easily one of the best episodes of SpongeBob. I just love the concept of SpongeBob and Patrick trying to reunite a robot band from Goofy Goobers, and that's actually a really creative idea for an episode. So yeah, this is actually a perfect episode in my opinion. I don't have any flaws with this episode. The jokes were pretty funny. The animation was really good, and the whole concept is just pure perfect. So yeah, that's my review of Goofy Scoopers. This was a really fun episode, and I really did like it a lot. So thank you guys for watching, and I will be reviewing Something Narwhal This Way Comes and Chums next week, is because that episode also was leaked on a Russian streaming service. I think it was the same streaming service that Goofy Scoopers aired on. But yeah, I will be reviewing that episode next week, so be on the lookout for that. Alright, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with that review. Hello everyone, this is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here with a back-to-back SpongeBob SquarePants reviews for you guys tonight. And first things off, we're going to start with the new Season 13 episode from the original series, SpongeBob SquarePants, Pat the Dog. Now, Pat the Dog was actually a really, really fun episode, I have to admit, is because there was actually some really good jokes in this episode and lots of returning characters. And Pat the Dog, like I've mentioned in my Pat the Dog and Goofy Scoopers video, in this episode, Patrick thinks he's a worm, and SpongeBob has to train him, or else he'll get locked in the pound at the animal shelter. Now, one of the returning characters in this episode is Marvin, the guy from Gary and Spot from season 12. He makes a return in this episode, and he is just better than ever. I actually liked Marvin's participation in this episode, and it's actually pretty cool that they actually brought him back. And so yeah, that was actually really cool to see him return. So like I've said, SpongeBob has to train Patrick, at which he thinks he's a dog or a worm, because in SpongeBob, the worms in the show are portrayed as dogs, while the snails are portrayed as cats. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, we knew that all along, but I just wanted to bring that up. So yeah, SpongeBob then takes Patrick to Squidward, in which he tries to train him, and this is where the episode starts to get really good. I really did love the jokes that they threw in there. I won't spoil one of the jokes, is because that it's a really, really good joke. So if you guys have not seen Pat the Dog or anything, I did provide that link of you being able to watch Nickelodeon on this website called US Go TV. That's in the link in my previous video. But yeah, overall, Pat the Dog was a really fun episode. I really liked it. It was pretty funny, had some really good jokes in there, and yeah. Alright, so that's my review on Pat the Dog from SpongeBob, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is coming up pretty soon, and that's going to be my review on the first episode of the Patrick Star Show. So that's my review on Pat the Dog. What are your guys' thoughts of the episode? Let me know in the comments below if you have seen it, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my review of the Patrick Star Show, which will be coming out after this video gets released. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. So today I'll be reviewing the episode Something Normal This Way Comes and Chums. And these were actually some pretty good episodes. I really enjoyed them, and I will be giving you guys my opinions on them. So in Something Normal This Way Comes, SpongeBob gets a visit from Narlene and Nobby, which we all know are the characters from Camp Coral, who basically pays SpongeBob a visit from all these years since they've met at Camp Coral. And I gotta say, Nobby and Narlene actually translate pretty well in 2D animation. And even though they first appeared in Camp Coral, which was an all 3D CGI animated show, now I knew Narlene and Nobby would make an appearance in the episode because it said something narwhal this way comes, and Nobby and Narlene are pretty much the only narwhal characters in the show that we've met. And I've stated in my other video where I've talked about the episodes when they were first confirmed that I thought there were going to be other narwhal characters in the episode, and that actually did turn out to be the case. Is because during the episode's climax, because of SpongeBob's antics with Narlene and Nobby, they basically bring in a bunch of narwhal impersonators who basically crashes into SpongeBob's home, and so they need to figure out a way to run him out of SpongeBob's house. And basically, these narwhal rejects basically turns everything into this hillbilly freaking country style setting and whatnot, and they basically have to run them out of Bikini Bottom before they cause any more trouble. And I was hoping that Sandy would be in this episode because she's Southern, and it turns out that wasn't the case in the episode. But overall, Something Normal This Way Comes was a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed it, and it did have some really good jokes in it. Now, moving on to Chums. So, in Chums, a plankton sucked, gets washed into the sewers of Bikini Bottom, where he basically befriends these Chum citizens, in which he uses them to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. And these Chum citizens had very unique designs. The designs of the Chumps characters in this episode were pretty unique, and I really did like the fan service that this episode dropped out. One of them being SpongeBob singing the Fun song from the episode Fun, of course. So yeah, this episode was really action packed. The climax of this episode was very intense and awesome at the same time. And yeah, I actually really liked this episode as well. All right, so that's my review for Something Normal This Way Comes and Chums. Two pretty good, decent episodes of SpongeBob. Really enjoyed them a lot, and I am looking forward to seeing more of season 13 to see what they bring. All right, you guys, so that's my review of the episodes. I'll see you guys again on Friday, which I'll be reviewing the new episode of the Patrick Star Show, which is going to be the yard sale. So that's coming out this Friday at 8. Is because that at 7 this Friday they're going to be premiering, of course, Something Normal This Way Comes and Chums in the U.S. But since I've already seen them, I don't need to see them again. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I am here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob SquarePants Christmas special that came out today, SpongeBob's Road to Christmas. And I have to say that this was actually a pretty solid Christmas episode from SpongeBob, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot. So in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick goes to the North Pole to give Santa a Christmas present. Now, what's really unique about this episode is that this is the first SpongeBob Christmas special in over 21 years that is returning back to 2D animation. Is because that the last Christmas special that SpongeBob SquarePants had was It's a SpongeBob Christmas, and that special was all in stop motion. And even though that the stop motion animation style was pretty unique, it was really cool to see that they went back to 2D animation for this new SpongeBob Christmas special. Now, some of my criticisms with this episode is that they didn't come up with a Christmas intro for this episode. They just went with the regular intro for SpongeBob. and that was a little bit disappointing. Is because that I would have hoped that they would have made like a Christmas intro, but that's my only criticism that I have with the episode. Other than that, this episode was pretty cool. Some of my favorite moments of this episode is SpongeBob and Patrick teaming up with Plankton to go to the North Pole to give Santa Claus the Christmas present. And the first stop that they went was this Christmas theme park, and that's where we saw the animated Patchy, the pirate. And even though that this part of the episode wasn't the climax, I still wished that the promos didn't spoil this, just because that I've made a whole video talking about Patchy the pirate being shown in the promos in his animated form, is because that it still would have been a nice surprise even if they didn't show it in the promos, but it really doesn't matter anymore. It's because that it just doesn't matter. But yeah, I really did like that part of the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick and Plankton enter the Christmas theme park, and that's when they met up with Patchy. And so Patchy then gives them a map to the North Pole, and that's where they actually meet up with Santa Claus. Now, the best part of this episode was the climax where the elves were 2D animated. I like the 2D animated elves. I thought that was pretty cool. And the reindeer characters in the episode were really funny as well. So, yeah, overall, this was actually a pretty solid Christmas episode of SpongeBob, in my opinion. It isn't as good as, you know what, whatever, forget about it. I was about to say something else, but I don't have anything else to say. But yeah, this was actually a pretty solid episode. I really enjoyed it, and it was pretty fun. All right, you guys, that is it. That is all of the SpongeBob episodes that we're pretty much getting for this year in 2021. And I do hope we get some more episodes in 2022 for the Patrick Star Show, SpongeBob SquarePants, and hopefully Camp Coral, is because that this year was pretty good with SpongeBob episodes. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next year with more reviews. It's because that I don't know if I'll have any more videos planned for this year for this channel, but I will make more videos in the future if I do have topics in mind and whatnot. But in the meantime, this channel will probably remain dormant until a new episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, The Patrick Star Show, or Camp Coral will come out next year in 2022. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and finally, I'm reviewing a new episode of SpongeBob SquarePants for once. It's because that for the past couple of Fridays, we had nothing but episodes of the Patrick Star Show, the spin-off series, but for the first time since February 25th of this year, we actually got a brand new episode of the original SpongeBob series, and today I'll be here to give you guys my review on Potato Puff, which is the new boating school episode of SpongeBob. And in this episode, Mrs. Puff basically creates a substitute teacher for SpongeBob by basically using a potato. Yes, this is a really crazy episode of SpongeBob where Mrs. Puff basically has had enough of teaching SpongeBob because of his reckless driving. So instead, she basically creates a substitute teacher by simply using a potato. Now, I will not explain how Mrs. Puff got this potato, is because I'm not going to spoil anything major of this episode, but all I can say is that I actually had a really good time with this episode. It was really crazy. The antics were up to 11, just like any boating school episode of SpongeBob, and at this point, I really don't care if they don't come up with a story plot of SpongeBob actually getting his license, even though this has happened before in the show. But I really do love these boating school episodes just because that they always come up with creative ideas. And I think Potato Puff is another really crazy idea. Yeah, I know the idea doesn't sound all that great. Oh, Mrs. Puff uses a potato as a substitute teacher, but you have to watch the episode to get an enjoyment out of it, because I had a really good time with this episode. It had lots of great jokes in there. The antics was really crazy, and that's how it is with the boating school episodes. And I can't wait to see what the SpongeBob crew has in store if they plan on making more boating school episodes in the future. So yeah, overall, that's my review on Potato Puff. I really liked this episode. It was crazy. He had some really good jokes, and I don't know. I really enjoyed this episode a lot. I had fun with it. Oh yeah, before I go, there were some new season 13 episodes revealed later today. I don't know when it was revealed, but there are some new season 13 episodes coming out for the rest of this month and in May. And one of those new episodes that I will say real quick is titled Captain Pipsqueak and Say Ah. Well, ah as in ah, that's adorable, not ah like you're screaming. It's spelled AWW, not AHH, just to let you guys know on that. I was going to make a community post about it earlier this afternoon when I first heard the news about the new episodes, but I wanted to say it in this video. So those episodes, Captain Pipsqueak and Say Ah, is airing on May 20th, which is on a Friday. So the rest of these Fridays are going to be new episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants and not from the Patrick Star Show. So we're going to be getting some new original SpongeBob series episodes for season 13 for the remaining Fridays of this month and up till next month. So yeah, I'm going to be having tons of reviews for you guys this week and next week, of course, of SpongeBob SquarePants episodes. So I'll see you guys next Friday with the next review on There Will Be Grease. So There Will Be Grease will be reviewed next Friday. So be on the lookout for that review. I'm looking forward to that episode. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time with those episodes next Friday. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and welcome back to another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And tonight I'll be reviewing the new season 13 episode that just aired, There Will Be Grease. So this is the second SpongeBob episode that had to deal with a grease problem. First being Greasy Buffoons from season 7. And I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I don't even remember recalling seeing this episode back in the day. Is because that I have a very fogged up memory when it comes to myself watching SpongeBob. So I really don't know anything in particular about that episode, but I might end up watching that episode in the future to see if I might enjoy it. But in this episode, Mr. Krabs and Plankton discovers grease in their restaurants, and the two teams up together to basically find a way to make profit with the grease. And so this is when the episode takes some creative liberties where Plankton and Mr. Krabs teams up to sell the grease, known as Everything Grease. So the highlight of this episode, in my opinion, is the return of Sandy. It's because we haven't seen Sandy in a season 13 episode since the first episode of season 13, which was A Place for Pets. She makes a surprise comeback in this episode, and I want the crew members to start implementing Sandy more, because as she's a main character of SpongeBob, she hasn't been appearing a lot lately in these newer episodes of the main series, and it was glad to see her return in this episode. So that was one of my favorite moments of this episode. Another one of my favorite moments of this episode is the song in the episode called Everything Juice. And it was a pretty good song. I really liked it. It was a duo of Mr. Krabs and Plankton selling the Everything Juice, which is the grease, and they were singing while they were selling it, which I found pretty cool. I will be uploading a standalone version of that song once I get a hold of the episode, of course. And yeah, so of course, because of Plankton and Mr. Krabs selling the grease, it turns out that the grease have side effects. It's very similar to the climax of Patty Hype from season 2, where the pretty patties had different side effects to the customers, and they basically want their money back. So the episode ends with Mr. Krabs and Plankton becoming bitter rivals again, and SpongeBob admires it. So yeah, There Will Be Grease was a pretty fun episode. I really enjoyed it. I like the rivalry between Plankton and Mr. Krabs at the end. It's really cool having these episodes where Mr. Krabs and Plankton teams up together to do something unique, and I really want the show to tackle that more in the future if they get a chance to. All right, you guys, that is my review on There Will Be Grease. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time with another review next Friday, so be on the lookout for that in the near future. So thank you guys for watching. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with a new SpongeBob SquarePants review for you guys tonight. And tonight I'll be reviewing the new episodes, The Big Bad Bubble Bass and the Seaman Sponge Haters Club. Well, it's just simply called Seaman Sponge Haters Club. Ignore the that I added there in the sentence. There is no the in the title, but whatever. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So The Big Bad Bubble Bass is, the second, episode in SpongeBob SquarePants that parodies a fairy tale, first being Patnocchio, from season 11. And, in this episode, Bubble Bass, dresses up as a wolf character so he could basically buy a Pigulon figure in which SpongeBob and Patrick had already purchased, because the toy manufacturer sold the last one to them. And so this whole episode is about Bubble Bass trying to get the Pigulon action figure, and resulting of him trying to parody the Three Little Pigs story, which is what the episode is based off of. And I gotta say, I really do love the crazy antics of this episode, as with Bubble Bass dressed up as a wolf, trying to get the Pigulon action figure. And I found those antics with him and SpongeBob and Patrick to be pretty funny, especially with the climax where instead of blowing the house down like in the actual story, he drinks a lot of cola, which makes him burp, which, like in the story, blew down the houses until they went over to Squidward's house, in which he couldn't blow down, is because that he was doing a very terrible job with it. And I'll just leave the episode with that. So The Big Bad Bubble Bass was a pretty funny episode. I do hope the SpongeBob crew decides to make more fairy tale parodies. I'm hoping in the next parody that they might do, they'll do Goldilocks and the Three Bears with Sandy in it, because I think Sandy will play a good Goldilocks, and the Sea Bears will be perfect candidates for the episode. So moving on to Seaman Sponge Haters Club, in which Squidward hosts a club about the hatred of SpongeBob. So what's unique about this episode are the character selections, which are Bubble Bass, Mrs. Puff, Plankton, and a random mailman, in which they all go over to Squidward's house for a SpongeBob haters club, in which each members of the club tells their experiences or their times with SpongeBob, and all of them turning out to be pretty bad, because SpongeBob is an annoyance to everyone in Bikini Bottom at times, and so each of the characters have their own unique stories. So it's one of those episodes where it's about characters telling stories about their experiences with something, and those episodes actually do tend to be pretty interesting at times. And this one, in my opinion, is no exception, is because SpongeBob is portrayed in this episode by the characters as this bad person. So I found each of their stories to be unique in a way. And if I had to pick a favorite of the stories, I really did like Mrs. Puff's and Bubble Bass's story. I found those to be the most interesting. But if I had to pick a number one favorite, I think it had to be Mrs. Puff, because I really did like Mrs. Puff's portrayal of SpongeBob, is because that I found it to be really interesting and cool. So yeah, that is my reviews on The Big Bad Bubble Bass and Seaman Sponge Haters Club. These episodes were pretty good in my opinion. I really enjoyed them, and I am looking forward to next Friday's episode, which is going to be on Say Ah and the food truck episode. Yeah, I know I'm screwing up the title, but I really don't care. But yeah, the next episode is going to be Say Ah and an episode about a food truck. So yeah. So with that said, thank you guys for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with a new SpongeBob SquarePants review. And please excuse me, is because that I'm gonna have to make the sound effect when I say this episode, because that's how it's usually said. But anyways, tonight I'm here to review the episode Food Truck, and Upturned Girls. Yeah, sorry, I had to do the raspberry sound because that's how it's read. But yeah, so in Food Truck, SpongeBob and Squidward delivers Krabby Patties through a food delivery service from Mr. Krabs. He starts a food truck business where Squidward and SpongeBob travels through Bikini Bottom trying to sell Krabby Patties. But it turns out that the other food trucks are a lot more popular than them until SpongeBob decided that, hey, why not we go to Rock Bottom to deliver food? And so this is where the episode gets really interesting, where Rock Bottom makes a surprise appearance. Actually, its third appearance overall in the SpongeBob SquarePants series. So we see some familiar faces, such as the fish character, who gave SpongeBob back his glove balloon from the Rock Bottom episode from season 1. He plays a major focus in this episode as SpongeBob and Squidward delivers the Krabby Patties. Hold on a second, you guys. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. I had to check the window because I saw the mail truck. So I'm gonna have to quickly end off this review really quickly. But yeah, overall, Food Truck was pretty good. All right, so next we got is Upturned Girls, where this episode focused around Pearl and Narlene. Narlene, the narwhal from Camp Coral. She returns in this episode in the main series along with her brother Nobby, where Pearl decides to take Narlene out to the city so she can understand the city life. So basically Pearl shows Narlene about the joys of living in the city, and that's where we get to the main location of the episode, which is Upturn. It was run by Lady Upturn, who was the fish lady from Krusty Catering, which she debuted in, and she actually owns the mall. So because of Narlene's country aspects, her experience at Upturns turned out to be very bad, so they end up getting in trouble and whatnot, and I do not want to explain anything else about this episode. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end off this reviews because I have to go outside and get the mail. So yeah, the mail truck decided to come right in the middle of me. We're doing this recording, and it's pretty late right now, so if I do end off this review quickly, that's because I have to go outside and get the mail. So that is my review of Food Truck and Upturned Girls. Pretty good episodes. I really enjoyed them. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time with more reviews. So, bye. Hello, everyone. This is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here. And tonight, I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob SquarePants episodes, Say Ah and Patrick the Mailman. And once again, in my personal opinion, we've had another great set of episodes for season 13. And I've got to say, the writers for these episodes are giving their all, is because that I really enjoyed these episodes a lot, and I cannot believe that I'm here to say this, but season 13 is turning out to be a really good season, and these episodes were so good. So in Say Ah, Plankton is trying to cause a diabolical disturbance in the Krusty Krab, where a bunch of these customers begin to admire his adorableness, which fails his plans. So Plankton decides to build a robot by the name of Cutie Pie, which is very clever, is because that the robot is spelled Q-T and the pie symbol, which was a pretty clever joke, in which is this yellow duckling robot, in which every time anybody says "say ah" or ah in general, the robot turns into this giant diabolical bird that starts attacking Bikini Bottom. And holy crap, this episode was so funny. Like, there were so many funny jokes in this episode. The robot going haywire, going around voring everyone in Bikini Bottom. Lots of very funny line delivery from the characters. This whole episode was just crazy antics from left to right, and this was just a really fun episode. Again, I don't understand why people don't like this era. This is so funny. Well, of course, these are my opinions, but yeah. Other than that, there were also other references or other cameos of other characters in this episode. I'll just say one cameo real quick. I won't say all the cameos because I'll just leave out this one cameo, and that is the return of Gail Doppler from Stormy Weather, which you guys did not recall was one of my favorite season 12 episodes of SpongeBob. So yeah, overall, Say Ah was a really fun episode. It was really funny. I really enjoyed it, and it was really crazy. And I have to give this episode a really good rating. So now moving on to Patrick the Mailman, and in this episode, Patrick and SpongeBob delivers mail throughout Bikini Bottom, where Patrick accidentally crushes the mailman with his polka dot rock, in which he said he ordered it plaid. So he ends up crushing the mailman with the polka dot rock that he accidentally ordered. And so him and SpongeBob goes to delivering mail. And in this episode, this was another really fun episode, is because that we actually had the return of Kevin the Sea Cucumber, who has a significant role in this episode. I won't tell you guys what he does in the episode, but all I'll say is that Kevin the Sea Cucumber makes a return in this episode, and he actually has a major role, unlike his cameo in Jolly Lodgers from the last season, season 12. And it's actually really cool seeing the SpongeBob crew bringing back old characters and making them have a significant role again since their first appearance in the seasons of SpongeBob. So yeah, this episode, they had lots of crazy antics of SpongeBob and Patrick delivering the mail. It was pretty fun and interesting. And it kind of reminded me of Chocolate with Nuts, where SpongeBob and Patrick were delivering chocolate, but instead they're delivering mail. And I have to say, this episode is actually on par with Chocolate with Nuts. As a matter of fact, this might be a hot take, but honestly, I like the climax of this episode more than Chocolate with Nuts. Yeah, Chocolate with Nuts is a classic episode, but the climax of Patrick the Mailman was so intense and really cool. I actually kind of prefer it over Chocolate with Nuts. But these are just my personal opinions. I know I'm being controversial here, but I don't really care. I am done with the whole pre-movie pandering. I'm saying it right now that I really enjoyed the ending of Chocolate with Nuts. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I really enjoyed the ending of Patrick the Mailman more than Chocolate with Nuts. I'm saying that right now. So yeah, overall, that is my review of Say Ah and Patrick the Mailman. These episodes were really good in my opinion. I really enjoyed them. Lots of funny antics, good jokes in my opinion, and overall, these episodes were really fun. Alright, so that's it. That's my review of these episodes. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with a new review whenever that will come out in the future. So, goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is E.B. the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm here to give you guys my review on the brand new SpongeBob SquarePants episodes, Captain Pipsqueak and Plain to See. And if I want to be totally honest, I think these episodes were pretty weak in my opinion. Well, yeah, mostly they were pretty weak. And yeah, so Captain Pipsqueak, Plankton joins the evil league, known as Every Villain is Lemons, if you guys recall from freaking Mermaid and Barnacle Boy 5, where evil stands for Every Villain is Lemons, and Man Ray, the Dirty Bubble, and a bunch of these new villains that were introduced in the episodes all give Plankton a crash course of how to join evil, and which they dubbed him Captain Pipsqueak, in which he does all these favors for them. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything too special or anything. I mean, there were some great references to past episodes, like we got the return of Dennis, we got the Strangler, we got Sticky Fins from The Getaway from season 10. There were some good character moments and some nice references to past episodes, but other than that, I wouldn't say this episode was anything groundbreaking. It's because I think the climax was a little bit weak. It didn't seem all that grand and epic and whatnot, but I kind of expected them to do a little bit more with this, but it is what it is. So this episode was just okay in my opinion. Now moving on to Plain to See, and in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick book Squidward a plane ticket to Bora Bora Bottom, which is like this tropical resort, and so they basically book him a plane ticket to go there, And it turns out that in order to get to Bora Bora Island, it was actually a ticket, or yeah, it was a ticket where it was like a family member or whatnot. So SpongeBob and Patrick portrayed as the kids, I guess, in the episode, as Squidward being the father. And again, this episode wasn't anything all that groundbreaking either, because all it was just SpongeBob and Patrick being very childish in the plane. They were doing all these crazy, wacky antics. I mean, we've seen this like thousands of times already, and I don't think it was anything all that funny. Yeah, there were there were a few good moments in this episode, in my opinion, that I really found pretty funny, which was the two pilots having these very boring, monotone voices. They sound really bored, like the flight attendants were being, or not the flight attendants, the pilots had these very boring, monotone voices that I found pretty funny. And I did like the little joke where Squidward was imagining the island, and it was like the stock footage of a beach. It was pretty funny. But other than those two things, this episode was just pretty underwhelming. Like, I mean, it really isn't funny seeing SpongeBob and Patrick being childish around Squidward. Yes, it's done millions of times already, and I know Squids on a Bus was an episode that SpongeBob and Patrick were being childish around Squidward while he was being a bus driver. But here, I'm sorry, it just isn't anything special. I think it would have been better if the episode kind of was them on the island, instead of the whole episode just being a whole hijinks with SpongeBob and Patrick being childish on the plane and annoying Squidward. I mean, it can be funny, but to me, I really think this episode could have been well executed. But other than that, Captain Pipsqueak and Plain to Sea were pretty okay episodes, in my opinion. Alright, so that is my review on those two episodes of SpongeBob. What are your thoughts about this episode if you've seen them? Well, the premiere already ended, but if you guys had seen these episodes already, please do let me know in the comments below. And with that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another review. Hello everyone, good evening. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and as I had stated this morning earlier with my review on the Camp Coral episodes, I'm here to give you guys my review on the brand new SpongeBob SquarePants episodes that had came out this evening, Squitsferatu and Slappy Days, which are the Halloween-themed episodes for this year in 2022. So, these episodes were pretty good. I actually had a great time with both of these episodes, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts of them. So, in Squitsferatu, Squidward and SpongeBob pays a visit to Nosferatu's castle to return back his mail that was accidentally delivered to his house from the mailman. And yeah, so this episode was really fun. The art style was kind of like those old vintage horror flicks from the 1930s and the 1940s, like those old Universal monster films. That's what the art style was based off of, and it was really very stunning. It was really good. And the jokes in this episode were pretty funny, in my opinion. I really liked the scenes where SpongeBob and Slappy, who was Nosferatu's servant, I liked the scenes with them. They kept laughing at each other. They were laughing at the jokes that they were telling each other, and I found that scene of the episode to be pretty funny. I also liked the climax of the episode of SpongeBob and Squidward trying to escape from the castle. And yeah, this episode overall was pretty fun, seeing Nosferatu and Slappy interacting with SpongeBob and Squidward. So yeah, overall, this was a pretty fun episode, and it was really good. So next, we got the Slappy Days, and in this episode, Slappy takes Nosferatu to Dr. Calamari, the physicist, to get him checked out because Nosferatu is sick. So he basically goes throughout Bikini Bottom to find something to cure him. And the term of this episode, Slappy Days, it's basically this illness that makes Nosferatu hypnotizes his victims, is because in the episode, he hypnotized Dr. Calamari, he hypnotizes a couple of the patients at the clinic, and I found that moment to be pretty interesting. and pretty funny. And SpongeBob had a small cameo in this episode, which is good to see. I really do like these episodes where SpongeBob always isn't the main focus, even though this is the name of its show. But it's really cool seeing other SpongeBob characters get the spotlight for once and not just being SpongeBob. So overall, Slappy Days and Squid's for 2 was a pretty solid Halloween episode for this year in 2022 for SpongeBob SquarePants Season 13. All right, you guys, that is my review on Squid's for 2 and Slappy Days. What are your thoughts about these episodes? If you've seen them, the premieres just ended already. So if you had seen these episodes during the premiere, do let me know in the comments below. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another review whenever a new episode comes out. So the next episode is Welcome to Binary Bottom, which is the first episode segment for the SpongeBob SquarePants part of the title zone. And in my opinion, this was the best episode of the whole title zone crossover, where Bikini Bottom is portrayed as robots. And this was a really interesting episode, is because that it was really cool seeing the SpongeBob characters as robots, seeing them do their daily lives and whatnot. And it was really interesting, and it had some very unique moments, such as the Krusty Krab as a futuristic place where I think it's called the Krusty Battery. I think that's what it was called in this episode. And without spoiling the ending of this episode was really, really interesting, and it was very funny, and I really did like the ending of this episode. I won't spoil it. It's because this episode recently just came out, and I don't want to ruin the surprise for everyone, but the ending of this episode was amazing, and this was by far the best episode of the whole Title Zone crossover special. So the next segment is You're Going to Pay Phone, which is the second SpongeBob SquarePants segment of the series, of the Title Zone crossover, that is, where Mr. Krabs gets a payphone from this shop, and then the shop owner warns Mr. Krabs that the phone is cursed, that the payphone is cursed. So what ends up happening is that every time Mr. Krabs answers the payphone, whenever a quarter gets put in it, the payphone basically tells Mr. Krabs to like give away free Krabby Patties, give away free money, and honestly, it wasn't all that interesting, if I want to be honest. It's because I thought that the climax was going to be interesting, where, I don't know, maybe the payphone like tries to attack Mr. Krabs or something. But all this episode was just the payphone making Mr. Krabs give out his money for free and his Krabby Patties for free, and it wasn't all that interesting, honestly, because it didn't seem all that interesting. All it was just SpongeBob giving away free money and all the customers being happy. I mean, that ain't anything special. I mean, come on now. Isn't it all that special? But overall, the concept alone wasn't all that bad, but I think it could have been executed a lot better. But yeah. Okay, so the final episode segment of the Title Zone crossover is the Skin, Wrinkle, and Time episode, where Grandpat basically travels his way through these time portals to get back to his world of the Patrick Star Show. And this segment was, I mean, again, it wasn't all that interesting. I mean, the only interesting part of this whole segment was the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song parody, which, I mean, it isn't all that news because we've seen this parody like 1,000 times already in the show, but it was interesting regardless. But this segment was really short. It wasn't all that interesting, honestly, it's because it really didn't have a lot of interesting parts in it. All it was just Grandpat just traveling through a void, trying to get back to his home world, and it was very short. I mean, and then that was about it. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys a brand new SpongeBob SquarePants review. And tonight I'm here to review the new episodes Abandoned Twits and Walhalla. And I have to say that these episodes were actually pretty good. So, in Abandoned Twits, in this episode, Mr. Krabs takes Squidward and SpongeBob out to Go Lagoon to build a ship for the Krusty Krab. And this episode was actually really, really fun, seeing SpongeBob and Squidward working together to build this ship. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring up some of the highlights of this episode that I really enjoyed. And the first highlight that I would like to bring up is the return of SpongeBob's original swimming trunks. Yes, I don't know why I thought that was worth bringing up, but they actually brought back SpongeBob's original blue swimming trunks that he wore in the earlier seasons. And I want to say that in season 5 or 6 is when they changed his swimming trunks to a red color. But in this episode, they actually brought back his original blue swimming trunks, and I do hope they keep it that way throughout the rest of the series if they try to bring back Goo Lagoon and SpongeBob is out wearing his swimming trunks. So that was actually one of the cool highlights of the episode. There was also some small cameos of other characters, like, for example, there's the eel from Walking Small, the Kraken from Wise Kraken, from Camp Coral. He appears at the end of the episode. But yeah, overall, this episode was actually really fun, seeing SpongeBob and Squidward working together to build a ship for the Krusty Krab, and they actually take the ship out for a run, where SpongeBob and Squidward were delivering Krabby Patties on the ship. That was another fun highlight of the episode. And yeah, overall, this episode was pretty fun, and it was pretty good, in my opinion. So next we have is Walhalla, and this episode was actually really interesting, is because this episode takes place inside the walls of SpongeBob's home, where he discovers that there's a hermit living in his walls, and he actually finds Gary in the walls of his house, and SpongeBob and Gary basically discovers the hermit, and they basically see what he's doing in there, and he's been living in those walls for many years. And there's actually a backstory to it in the episode. This episode was really fun. I actually really do like this concept of a hermit living in SpongeBob's walls. And then people say, oh, the show's running out of ideas. I'm like, this was actually a really unique idea for SpongeBob, of an idea of somebody living in SpongeBob's home, but is actually in the walls of his home. So there's actually a really funny subplot where the hermit basically explains to SpongeBob that the one thing that annoys him the most is the cackling laugh of the homeowner, and it turns out that SpongeBob was actually that problem. So there's actually this really intense climax of the episode where the hermit chases SpongeBob and Gary in the walls of his home, where Patrick comes in later and he basically investigates. So that's all I'm going to say about this episode, is that this was a pretty fun episode. Had lots of crazy antics and interesting characters. And yeah. So overall, Abandoned Twits and Walhalla were some pretty decent episodes of Season 13 of SpongeBob. And yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review on these 2 brand new episodes. And there is going to be a new episode coming out next Friday, which is The Salty Sponge. And I am definitely going to be looking forward to this episode. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with that review. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review for you guys tonight. So tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the new episode, Salty Sponge. And this episode is about a urchin infestation at the Krusty Krab. So Mr. Krabs decides to give SpongeBob a temporary job at the Salty Spittoon, which we all know is the episode from No Weenies Allowed. In fact, lots of the characters from that episode returns here, such as Reg. Unfortunately, he didn't speak in this episode besides letting out a tiny scream. I was hoping that they brought back his famous "Welcome to the Salty Spittoon, how tough are ya?" No, I'm not going to do the impression because I don't have the time for that. But yeah, overall, if I want to be totally honest with this episode, it's pretty okay. Yeah, I've decided that I'm going to give this episode an okay, is because that even though I did enjoy some of the references of this episode. I will drop out a few of them really quick. There's a reference to New Student Starfish. There's a reference to the abrasive side in this episode. I won't tell you guys what those references are, but there are some references to past episodes. But if there's one big letdown of this episode, and it was my problem that I had with the Skin, Wrinkle, and Time episode from the Title Zone crossover, and that is the overuse of the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song parody. I will admit, it was funny at first, the first time around that it did, and like the season 11 episodes, but they're overusing this joke a lot, and I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know if they think it's funny or not, but they really got to toe down on that SpongeBob theme song parody, or just don't do it anymore. It's because that, we get it. They like to parody the theme song of the show. Why do they have to keep doing it for all these episodes? Like, that's like my biggest downgrade with this episode is the theme song parody. It's because that we've already seen it in the freaking Skin, Wrinkle, and Time episode from the Title Zone. So why would they do another theme song parody? But yeah. So overall, outside of the theme song parody, this episode was just okay in my opinion because of that. And I did like some of the references of this episode, and the animation was really good. But at the end of the day, this episode just left it to be okay in my opinion. So that is my review on Salty Sponge, and I will see you guys next time with the final episode of this weekly Friday of new episodes, and that's going to be on Karen for Spot. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that episode, and I hope to God that they better not do another SpongeBob SquarePants theme song parody. I swear to God, if they do another theme song parody, I'm just going to lose it, because they're overusing that joke, and it's time for them to tone it down. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with the next episode coming out next Friday. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys another SpongeBob SquarePants review. And tonight we had the episode Karen for Spot, which aired tonight. And this was actually a pretty fun episode, in my opinion. I really did enjoy this episode, and I'm going to give you guys my overall thoughts of it. So in this episode, Plankton is going to a 3-day trip to the Doomsday Convention, and he asks Karen to watch over for Spot, and things doesn't turn out to be right. Like of course, like chaos and ensures throughout this whole episode, where Karen is trying her best to watch over Spot. So SpongeBob and Gary appears in this episode to lend a helping hand. Well, actually, they were lending a helping hand in the episode, but SpongeBob's main purpose was to bring Gary over for a play date. So yeah, so we get to see Spot and Gary interacting with each other again. So I'm turning down my TV a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, this episode was pretty fun. There were some really funny moments of this episode, such as SpongeBob, Karen, and Gary trying to stop Spot from causing trouble in Bikini Bottom because he ran away, and so they had to catch him. So the Doomsday Convention actually ended a little bit earlier because the building caught on fire. But yeah, so overall, this was a pretty fun episode in my opinion. There were some crazy hijinks with SpongeBob, Karen, and Spot, which was fun. And the climax of the episode was pretty fun as well, and it was actually pretty funny at the same time. So overall, that's all I have to say for this episode. It was pretty fun, and I enjoyed it. Okay, everyone, so I guess that wraps up these Friday premieres of SpongeBob episodes until we get more episodes coming out in the future. But yeah, I'll be keeping my eyes out on ESB, looking up release dates and whatnot, and if there are going to be more episodes coming out in the future, I will inform you guys in the community post. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with another SpongeBob review for you guys today. So today I'm here to review the new episode, Arbor Day Desiree, or Desiree, however you pronounce it, really doesn't matter. And yeah, so in this episode, it is Arbor Day and Bikini Bottom. Sandy is hosting an Arbor Day celebration where it's about the day of festive trees. And so Sandy makes everyone in Bikini Bottom grow their own trees. And then all the trees become sentients and they all begin talking back to their owners, such as Mr. Krabs, Mrs. Puffs, Patrick, SpongeBob, those characters, Squidward. And yeah, overall, this episode, if I want to be honest, it was pretty weak. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this episode, if I want to be honest. I really didn't like the tree characters all that much. They were just being jerks in the episode, and it wasn't. I mean, the concept alone was, I can say it's pretty unique, but I don't know. I just didn't like the execution of this episode, of the trees just constantly just talking back to their owners and whatnot. And yeah, and then not only that, there were some things that I also didn't really like about this episode. And yes, and it's only a small nitpick, but at this point, it's not even going to be a nitpick. I think it's just a common thing that they probably shouldn't do again in a future episode. Please, Nickelodeon, do not use the MLG air horn sound effect again. You've already used it in Goofy Scoopers. It was funny at first, but then when you decided to reuse it again, it just gotten a little old. So I just didn't appreciate that in the episode. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And yeah, this episode was just a nothing episode, in my opinion. The concept was unique, but the execution, in my opinion, wasn't all that great. The trees talking, I mean, yeah, it's SpongeBob SquarePants. It's a wacky cartoon, so that's not out of the ordinary, but I don't know. This Sandy episode was rather weak, in my opinion. Not as good as Hot Cross Nuts. And as a matter of fact, Hot Cross Nuts is way better than this episode, in my opinion. So that's all I have to say with this episode. Arbor Day Disarray. It was pretty weak. Okay, so I'll see you guys next time with tomorrow's episode, which is going to be Ain't That the Tooth. I'm hoping I can be able to review that episode. It's because I might be busy tomorrow. I'm not sure about that, but I will find out eventually. But if I am busy tomorrow to where I cannot see the episode, then I will let you know when I will be able to review the episode. But I will be able to review it if I am not busy tomorrow. I might most likely be busy tomorrow, but I have to wait and see on that. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob episode, Ain't That the Tooth. So, in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick, mistakens a burglar for the Tooth Fairy, and, the burglar assists SpongeBob and Patrick to help him out, robbing places, while SpongeBob and Patrick, basically takes teeth from residents and basically help out the burglar. So this episode was pretty good. Yeah, I didn't mind this episode all that much. I mean, it was a pretty decent episode in my opinion. Just because I say it's a good episode, I wouldn't say it's the best of the season, but it was a pretty solid episode with SpongeBob and Patrick going around helping the burglar out, getting people's teeth while the burglar is out stealing their objects and whatnot. And I want to say that the highlight of this episode has to be with Mr. Krabs, is because there's a part in the episode where they robbed Mr. Krabs' house, and then there was a convenient rope that says "pull me," which triggers Mr. Krabs' burglar system. I found that moment of the episode to be pretty enjoyable, and the ending of the episode was pretty funny, because of the Tooth Fairy's design. Yeah, the Tooth Fairy had a really weird design in this episode, and it was quite unbearable, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, another thing I want to bring up in this episode, Patrick, in this episode, wore a sweater throughout this whole episode. There wasn't any explanations of why he was wearing the sweater, but I want to say that maybe they wanted to do something different with Patrick, and they made him wear a sweater throughout the episode. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I just noticed that. I just find it really interesting that they just had Patrick wearing this purple sweater throughout the whole episode without any explanations of why he was wearing it. But I guess they just wanted to do a visual change with Patrick, so I'm not going to complain about that too much. But yeah, overall, Ain't That the Tooth? It was pretty solid. it was a pretty fun episode, but it's not, but I wouldn't say it's the best of the season, but it was still pretty decent. Okay, so tomorrow's episode is going to be Dopey Dick, and I will inform you guys about something. So I'm not sure if I'm going to see this episode at its 1 o'clock premiere. It's because that I am going to be pretty busy tomorrow. I'm taking care of some things, but the episode is going to come out again at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's because that if you guys have DirecTV, there's Nickelodeon Eastern and Nickelodeon Western, and Nickelodeon Western, the premiere. The scheduling on Nickelodeon Western is as if you are out in the Pacific time zone. So 4 p.m. is going to be the premiere of that episode on Nickelodeon Western. So I'm letting you guys know ahead of time, is because that I might not be able to see Dopey Dick's premiere at its 1 o'clock premiering, because I might be out doing something. But hopefully I can be home before the premiere, but I highly doubt on that. That's why I'm letting you guys know in this video. So expect tomorrow's review to be out a little bit later in the day, if I'm out for that long. But I can't promise on that, but I'm just here to let you guys know on that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling about it. But yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow's review with Dopey Dick. And yeah, so goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here. And tonight, I just watched the brand new episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, Ma and Pa's Big Hurrah, and I'm here to give you guys my review on the episode. So, in this episode, SpongeBob's parents visits, and they basically want to have the time of their lives, but SpongeBob wants to prove to his parents that he's a mature adult. That was like the whole running theme of the episode. While SpongeBob's parents, on the other hand, want to do wild, crazy things like the good old days back in their youth. And I really do like SpongeBob's portrayal in this episode. They've been really experimenting with SpongeBob's attitude in season 13. The first episode that I really want to bring this up, and that is regarding to Seaman Sponge Haters Club, where SpongeBob in that episode was portrayed as this really crazy person. But in this episode in particular, they tried to make him a little bit more mature. And some of the highlights of this episode, in my opinion, were the moments with SpongeBob's parents out doing wild, crazy things, like taking SpongeBob out to like a wrestling match. They go roller skating, and that was really funny. And I really liked the part of the episode where SpongeBob told Squidward to quiet down while they were sleeping at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, this episode was really fun. Like, I really enjoyed this episode. It was great seeing Harold and Margaret SquarePants again in the series. We haven't seen them since Big Birthday Blowout from season 12. And it's really cool seeing SpongeBob's parents again in this series, because we don't see them that often, and it's really cool seeing them again. Oh yeah, another funny thing that I want to bring up really quick, and that is SpongeBob's parents living on a freaking avocado. And that's really funny, is because that's like the whole gag of the SquarePants family living in, I don't know, freaking fruits, while you got Uncle Captain Blue living in a normal looking house, while you got SpongeBob living in a pineapple and his parents living in a freaking avocado. Like, that is absolutely hilarious, and I just really digged it. So yeah, that is my review on Ma and Pa's Big Hurrah. Really fun episode. I really enjoyed it, and I had a great time with it. Alright, so thank you guys for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time with Yellow Pavement, which is coming out next Friday. So be on the lookout for that review. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the brand new episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, Yellow Pavement. And in this episode, it's basically Boat Smarts from season 5, where it's like an educational film of Mrs. Puff teaching the driving safety, where SpongeBob and Squidward plays a role in the movie. And it's very similar to Boat Smarts, meaning that Squidward is doing the right driving techniques while SpongeBob screws around. It's very similar, but it's actually a really good episode at the same time as well, is because that even though this episode has a very similar concept, I did really enjoy the crazy antics of this episode, such as Squidward doing the right driving techniques while SpongeBob is screwing around. Like, some of the highlights I'll bring up for this episode is, there's actually a part in this episode where Squidward is driving past a group of children who's trying to cross the street very slowly. So they're like crossing the street very slowly, and it was actually like a slow motion animation style, which I found to be pretty funny. And the other highlight of this episode is the really awesome, unique art style that they went with this episode. I'm not going to tell you guys what the art style is. It's because that I'll be going to spoiler territory. But yeah, this episode does have a really unique art style towards the ending of the episode. And yeah, so overall, this episode was pretty fun and decent at the same time. I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking or anything, just because it's just your typical boating school hijinks. And as a matter of fact, Potato Puff, in my personal opinion, was the better boating school episode for this season. Is because it was a lot more intense. I mean, this episode was really good at the same time, but I kind of think Potato Puff was a little bit better than Yellow Pavement, in my opinion. But this episode was still good regardless. All right, you guys, so that is my review on Yellow Pavement. I'll see you guys next week's episode with the flower plot. And yeah, that'll be coming out next week. So yeah, I hope you guys are looking forward to that review. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time with that episode. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. So tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the new episode, The Flower Plot, and this episode was actually another Plankton episode, where Plankton and Karen basically turns the Chum Bucket into a flower shop as their next scheme to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Now, right off the bat, I already knew that this was going to be another one of those episodes where it was one of Plankton's schemes. It's because it was pretty obvious. Like, if you know already that Plankton always does this, like he always comes up with these crazy schemes and whatnot. And yeah, but if I do have one slight criticism with this episode, I kind of wish that Plankton's reveal of the flower. Oh wait, hold on. Let me rephrase this again. I'm sorry. What I was trying to say is that I kind of wish that they actually held off the reveal till like maybe towards the end, I guess, similar to Plankton Retires. But I think they kind of revealed the scheme a little bit too early, and I think they probably did it because they probably didn't want to repeat the events from Plankton Retires, which was also written by Mr. Lawrence. But yeah, so this episode was actually pretty fun because it was another interesting Plankton episode where Plankton disguises as different robots and stuff and does all these crazy schemes and yeah, so yeah, sorry if my dialogue's a little bit weird. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to review this episode the best I can. But all I'm trying to say is that this episode was pretty interesting. I did like the idea of Plankton turning the restaurant into a flower shop. I thought that was pretty interesting. And Petunia, the name of the flower robot shop owner that Plankton disguised as, had a running gag where she kept saying "huh" every time she would speak. It was pretty funny at first, but it can get a little annoying at times. But I mean, it really wasn't all that annoying. I mean, it was pretty comical at times, and Squidward had a crush on Petunia throughout the episode. But yeah, overall, this was another pretty fun season 13 episode of SpongeBob. I wouldn't say it was anything groundbreaking, but the idea was pretty unique, and I can't wait to see what other Plankton episodes that they will come up with for the future for SpongeBob. Alright, so that's my review on The Flower Plot. This episode was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next Friday with the episode SpongeBob's on Parade. Now, before I head out, there are going to be 2 more episodes coming out in April, and I'm going to tell you guys those episodes real quick. So on April 7th is going to be Escape from Monster Island, or no, I'm sorry, it's Delivery to Monster Island, my bad. Escape from Monster Island is the freaking Powerpuff Girls 2016 episode. That's what that episode was called. It was called Delivery to Monster Island. And then on April 14th, we're getting Ride Patrick Ride. And those are the last remaining SpongeBob SquarePants episodes that are coming out at this current time. So with that said, that's my review on the Flower Plot. Thank you guys for watching this review. I apologize for the dialogue with my review, but I'll try to improve on that for the next review, hopefully, but I might not promise on that. But with that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the brand new SpongeBob episode, SpongeBob on Parade. And was this a really fun episode? Like my throat right now is a little bit scratched up right now because there was this really funny scene in the episode that made me laugh really hard that I won't spoil because I don't want to give out too much of this episode. But the overall premise of this episode is that SpongeBob and Squidward basically builds a float for the Bikini Bottom Parade, where Plankton actually attends the parade when he actually overhears that SpongeBob wrote the Krabby Patty secret formula on their parade float. Now, this episode was actually really fun. Like, I actually really liked the premise, and it's actually a premise that has never been done before in the show. Yes, we did had episodes that had a parade featured in them, but I don't think we ever had an episode dedicated to a parade specifically, and I really did like this episode. This episode had lots of really funny jokes and had some really good visuals, like, for example, you had Fred's My Leg float, which was really funny. Like, when I saw his float, I couldn't just help but laugh at it because I thought it was pretty funny. We also got to see Pearl in this episode. She's actually was leading her high school band as a band leader or something. It was pretty interesting. And then we get to see SpongeBob's float in the episode, which is a bunch of Krabby Patties and the Krabby Patty secret formula. And that's where the big climax occurred, where Plankton built his own float to basically attack the other parade members so he could steal the formula. But it all turned out that it was a prop all this time. And we also get to see other characters in the episode, like the Ice Cream King from Patrick's Coupon. We saw the Nitwitting citizens or the Nitwitting members from the Nitwitting episode from season 12. We also got a Idiot Box reference where SpongeBob said, no imagination. Sorry, I was about to say amazing, but that's Rube's quote. Yeah, there was a Idiot Box reference in this episode. So yeah, overall, SpongeBob on Parade was a really fun episode. I really enjoyed it. That ending really had me laughing. Like, that's probably one of my new favorite SpongeBob moments because of that ending. But yeah, this was a really fun episode, and it was written by Kaz, the same guy who wrote Chocolate with Nuts and other classic SpongeBob episodes. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Oh yeah, there is one more thing I want to bring up really quick. So I did some research on ESB, and unfortunately, Ride Patrick Ride is not airing on April 14th anymore. Wait, was it the 14th? Well, it was supposed to be after the premiere of Delivery to Monster Island, but instead, after Delivery to Monster Island, there is going to be new episodes of the Patrick Star Show coming out to make up for the Ride Patrick Ride premiere. So I think either that premiere got pulled or ESB made a mistake in the airings, but it is what it is. So there isn't going to be a new episode of SpongeBob after next week's episode. Instead, it's going to be the Patrick Star Show. So I'm just here to let you guys know on this video ahead of time. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching this review. What are your thoughts on SpongeBob on Parade? I'd like to know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time with another review. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob SquarePants episode, Delivery to Monster Island. And in this episode, SpongeBob and Plankton ends up at a island filled with monsters while SpongeBob was out delivering a Krabby Patty. And yeah, so basically Plankton accidentally tags along with SpongeBob on this island, and the two has to work together to escape. And this is another SpongeBob and Plankton team up episode. It's really interesting to see these two characters work together at times. And if I want to be honest, this episode was pretty okay. There were some really unique monster designs in this episode, such as for example, you got a monster in the shape of a banana, and I thought that was pretty clever, I guess. And so what they ended up doing is that they actually built a restaurant on the island called the Cocoa Patty, which is basically coconut made Krabby Patties, and they ended up serving it to the monsters, and which was one of their many different ways of distracting the monsters so they could make their big escape. And yeah, this episode was okay. I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking or anything. I wouldn't say it was the best episode in the world, but it was pretty decent. It had some unique monster designs, and seeing SpongeBob and Plankton team up together was pretty cool. But if I do have one little criticism, Bubble Bass made a cameo in this episode, and if I'm going to be totally honest, I do like Bubble Bass, but I think they've been using him a lot lately for these cameo appearances. Like, I think that would have been cool if Sandy made a cameo. As a matter of fact, Sandy has been appearing less and less in these newer episodes, and I don't know why they're not utilizing her as much. I mean, she is a main character in SpongeBob, so why isn't they utilizing her? Like, even if it's not a Sandy-centered episode, why not throw her in the background? Why not give Carrot and Lawrence something to say? Like, for real, though. But either way, that's my review on Delivery to Monster Island. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was the greatest thing ever, but it wasn't bad either. Alright, you guys, so that is my review of the episode. What are your guys' thoughts of this episode if you've seen it? Do let me know in the comments below. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another review. Hello, everyone. This is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here, and welcome to the first week of the Aftertoons premieres. Yes, it actually turned out that this week is once again the Aftertoons week of SpongeBob episodes, and yes, I am aware of them, but I didn't know this was part of the Aftertoons week. I thought it was completely something different, but anyways, today I'm here to review the new SpongeBob SquarePants episode, Ride Patrick Ride, that just came out at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And in this episode, SpongeBob basically teaches Patrick how to ride a bicycle, and yeah, this episode was actually pretty fun. It was a fun episode, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. So there were lots of some great moments of this episode, in my opinion, such as SpongeBob teaching Patrick how to ride the bicycle, and you got Patrick screwing things up because he's trying to learn how to ride one. There's also lots of references in this episode that I will point out really quickly. One reference is the octopus family from Sailor Mouth. If you guys didn't recall from that episode, it was a family of octopuses or octopi at the Krusty Krab, and SpongeBob was speaking as Sailor Mouth, and the mother octopus slammed the cup onto one of her children. They returned in this episode. They were in Jellyfish Fields when the SpongeBob and Patrick was riding the bicycles there. We also get to see Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puffs' relationship again in this episode. And there was also a Patrick Star Show reference in this episode that I found really funny. And yeah, overall this episode was pretty fun. It was a really fun episode. It's not, I wouldn't say it's anything groundbreaking. It is a slice of life episode because it's just SpongeBob trying to teach Patrick how to ride a bicycle. So it's not like there's a serious plot going on. I mean, there were some antics going on, but it wasn't like a threat or anything. But yeah, it was just a nice slice of life episode, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. All right, so that is my review on Ride Patrick Ride. And tomorrow's episode I am really excited for, is because it's going to be hot crossed nuts, and it's going to be Sandy. It's going to be a Sandy episode, and you guys know how much Sandy's lack of appearance in season 13 has been so far, but we're actually going to be finally getting our hands on one of the Sandy themed episodes this week, so I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that episode tomorrow. So that is my review on Ride Patrick Ride, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with my review on Hot Cross Nuts. So goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with another SpongeBob SquarePants review. and today I'm here to review the new episode, Hot Cross Nuts. And once again, another solid Season 13 episode. This was a lot of fun. I really liked the concept of the episode, and yeah, this was a really fun episode of SpongeBob. So in this episode, Sandy's smoking barbecue nuts that she eats for lunch. Yes, I'm smiling right now is because this episode was really fun and it was hilarious at the same time. But yeah, anyways, so Sandy's lunch of smoking barbecue nuts becomes a huge hit in the Krusty Krab. So Mr. Krabs decides to give her a job at the Krusty Krab, and so her and SpongeBob teams up cooking Krabby Patties and smoking barbecue nuts at the same time. But just like the episode implies, the nuts becomes a huge hit to where SpongeBob is very depressed, is because that he feels like he will not be put up into a job anymore, and so he ends up cooking outside of the restaurant while Sandy is enjoying her job making barbecue nuts for everyone. And yeah, this was actually a really, really fun episode. I really enjoyed it, and lots of funny jokes in this episode, such as Sandy's Texas slang. And yes, it was really funny seeing her using her Texas slang as she's cooking the nuts, because she is from Texas, obviously. There was this really funny joke with Bubble Bass that I don't want to spoil, is because it was that funny. But yeah, there was this joke with Bubble Bass that was involved that actually made me laugh really hard, because it was just because of the line delivery. And because of Sandy's success, she ends up turning the restaurant into like this Texas bar where, of course, she's cooking more of the barbecue nuts with the barbecue grills that Mr. Krabs sent into the restaurant. So overall, this was a really fun episode. I'm glad that they actually brought back Sandy's job at the Krusty Krab, because if you guys didn't notice, at the ending of Karate Choppers, Sandy was offered a job at the Krusty Krab making Krabby Patties with SpongeBob, but they actually approached that idea and expanded it more with this episode. And I really do love the show experimenting with unique ideas. Like, what if Sandy had a job at the Krusty Krab? We've never got an episode like that before. Yes, it was tackled at the ending of it was tackled at the end of Karate Choppers, but we never actually had a dedicated episode where Sandy gets a job at the Krusty Krab, and this was that episode. So yeah, SpongeBob SquarePants really isn't running out of ideas like a lot of people has been saying, because this is a unique idea, Sandy working at the Krusty Krab. So overall, this was a fun episode. Highly suggest you see it if you haven't seen it yet. It's a much watch, fun episode. Really enjoyed it. And yeah. All right, so that's my review on Hot Cross Nuts. I'll see you guys tomorrow's episode on Sir Urchin and Snail Fail. That's coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. So with that said, this has been EB the Original Master signing out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with that review. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob SquarePants episode, Sir Urchin and Snail Fail. So yeah, this is actually an episode based off of the Sir Urchin and Snail Fail show, which was the little TV show Patrick watched in the episode Library Cards, and they made it a whole episode dedicated to the two characters. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and throw out my small pet peeve of this episode, and that is the plot itself. So in this episode, Snail Fail and Sir Urchin was doing their comedy bit in front of a live audience until the group decided to split up, and SpongeBob and Patrick decides to reunite them for them to get back to their show again. Yeah, this plot is literally Goofy Scoopers. This is an exact rehash of Goofy Scoopers. And I was like, are you kidding me, Nickelodeon? You just had a plot like this with Goofy Scoopers. Why do it again, but with a different set of characters? Yeah, that's probably my biggest downfall with this episode, is that it's literally a copy and paste version of Goofy Scoopers in a way, because yeah, SpongeBob and Patrick goes out their separate ways to reunite Snailfill and Sir Urchin, and then they get back together again and they do their comedy bits. So yeah, this episode did have some really fun moments, like the live action audience. I thought those segments of the episode to be pretty interesting in a way. But other than that, to me, this just kind of felt like a rehashed or a diet version of Goofy Scoopers.
Now, in my opinion, I think Goofy Scoopers is the better episode because I really enjoyed that one because it was unique in my opinion. It was a really unique idea. It did have some really funny moments in that episode, but with Sir Urchin and Snail Fail, it wasn't all that great, honestly, because there was a part in the episode where Patrick pretended to be Snail Fail and he kept hitting Sir Urchin with a hammer and he kept trying to say Snail Fail's catchphrase is "what I do," and Sir Urchin says "why you." Yeah, other than the live action audience segment bits, this episode just felt like a diet version of Goofy Scoopers, and honestly, that's the better episode in my opinion. So this episode wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything great either. So I'm sorry, was a pretty dud of an episode in my opinion. Well, that's my review on Sir Urchin and Snail Fail. Tomorrow's episode is going to be Friendiversary, and it's going to be the last episode of this week for news SpongeBob episodes. And yeah, so hope you guys are looking forward to that review tomorrow. And with that said, this has been EB the Sponge Reviewer signing out. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob episode, Friendiversary. And this episode was rather fun. This was actually a pretty good episode in my opinion, and I am going to give you guys my thoughts on it. So in this episode, it is on the anniversary of SpongeBob and Squidward's friendship, to the point where SpongeBob torments Squidward throughout the entire episode, blabbing about memories that he had with him, to the point it becomes a nightmare to Squidward. And yeah, this episode was actually really fun. Seeing the many crazy antics with SpongeBob trying to ask Squidward about his memories and talking about all of his great memories that they had together. And yeah, some of the memories in this episode were original ideas, like they weren't stuff from like past episodes. And yes, I am foreshadowing that part because there is a part in the episode that does reenact past episodes. As a matter of fact, let me point them out right now in this review. So yeah, there were many references from past episodes that they reenacted in this episode, such as dying for pie with Squidward in the Sailman suit. They reenacted Bubble Stand, and I'm trying to think I should remember this because I just saw the episode just now, but well, if you guys can help me out, tell me what the other references, because I'm already blanking out on it. So the only references that I can point out right now is Bubble Stand and Dying for Pie. And he also did another reference to life insurance, like the ending part of the episode. They actually reenacted the ending to life insurance with the whole lava trap that SpongeBob created at the ending of that episode. So they did a whole reenacting of that and for the climax of Friendiversary. But yeah, so overall, this was a really fun episode. And again, if you guys could help me out in the comments below, tell me what the other reference was from a past episode that was brought up, because I'm already blanking out on it, and I already forgot. But I do know that they referenced Bubble Stand and Dying for Pie. So all right, so that's my review on Friendiversary. This episode was really good. I really enjoyed it, and it did have some great moments in it. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with more episodes for the After Tunes week. So goodbye, everyone. Hey guys, so I figured out what the other reference was to this episode just now, and it was the camping episode, because there was a scene in the episode where Squidward had the sombrero, the little hat, and the flashlight. He was swinging it around, and the sea bear came out. Yeah, so that was the other reference that they did a reenactment of in this episode. So you guys don't have to correct me in the comments. I will put a disclaimer in the description of this video, because this was before I knew about it. So yes, I figured out the other reference, so you guys don't have to tell me in the comments. All right, that's the review. I'll see you guys next week. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I am back with another SpongeBob SquarePants episode review. Today I'm here to review the new episode, Mandatory Music. So in this episode of SpongeBob, Squidward is sent to Little Flipper's Music Academy for violating a musical instrument with his terrible clarinet playing. And this was actually a pretty fun episode. I really digged it. It was quite fun. I did like the concept of the episode, and it was quite enjoyable. So, some of my highlight moments of this episode is Squidward attending the music academy, where the students are a bunch of little kids aged. It's because that Squidward is sent to a music academy where you have to learn music from the very beginning. So that's why he was put up into a classroom full of young kids. And SpongeBob was actually one of the students attending the music academy. And yeah, so that was one of my favorite moments of this episode. I like the fact that they brought back SpongeBob's nose flute. If you know that's like his signature thing that he does in the theme song. He also did his nose flute in a few other episodes in the show, such as Best Day Ever, for example. And it was quite fun. I actually do like the fact that SpongeBob's nose is a literal musical instrument. And another highlight of this episode, in my opinion, is SpongeBob and the kids performing their own little music, and Squidward tries to chime in, but ruins everything because of his terrible clarinet playing. And then it turns out that Squidward found his musical instrument all along, and it turns out that it was his nose. So just like with SpongeBob, he also uses his nose as a musical instrument. So overall, this was a pretty fun episode. I mean, it wasn't anything bad or offensive. It was really fun. I really dig this episode. And yeah, so that is my review on Mandatory Music. And tomorrow's episode is going to be Arbor Day Desiree, and it's going to be another Sandy episode, which I find really funny is because that last Tuesday's episode was a Sandy episode. Can't tell if this was a coincidence or not, or this was intentional for the airing. I'm pretty sure this has to be intentional because this cannot be a coincidence, because if it was, they wouldn't air two Sandy episodes back to back on the same Tuesdays, or on a different Tuesday, that is, but it is what it is. So, what are your thoughts on Mandatory Music? Do let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys with tomorrow's episode review. So, goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I've made it home just in time to watch the new SpongeBob episode today. And today I'm here to review the new episode, Dopey Dick. And what a solid episode. This was a really good episode, and could easily be my new favorite Season 13 episode. So in this episode, this is a parody of the Moby Dick story, which was this story about a group of sailors out hunting down a killer whale, if I'm correct on that. But in this episode, Squidward tells the story about him hunting down Dopey Dick with SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, and Plankton playing as the characters in the Moby Dick story. Now, I will inform you guys, I've never read the novel myself. I never read the novel when I was either in school or whatnot, so I don't know anything much about I don't know anything much about Moby Dick. All I know is that it is a story about a group of these sailors out hunting down a whale. That's all I know about the story. I don't know any of the characters or anything like that. So yeah, from what I've seen of this episode, I think this episode did a good job parodying the story. Once again, like I've stated earlier, I know nothing about the story, but I think they did a good job parodying it, where Squidward, Patrick, and SpongeBob, and a bunch of anchovies all go out on this journey to hunt down Moby Dick, or Dopey Dick, or whatever, I don't care, sheesh. So Dopey Dick is this killer white jellyfish, is this great white jellyfish, and just by the name alone, it's very dopey and derpy, so he makes very derpy sounds in the episode, and it was really good. This was a really good episode. I really liked SpongeBob's portrayal in this episode. It was actually a nice change of setting for his character, and as a matter of fact, I've stated this already, that I really do like SpongeBob's characterizations in this season, like in Seaman, Sponge Haters Club, Ma and Pa's Big Hurrah, and now in this episode, they've been doing a really good job portraying SpongeBob through these different, well, hold on, what I'm trying to say is that they're doing a really good job making SpongeBob do all these really unique roles in this season, and I hope they continue to do that throughout the rest of the season. So yeah, so in the climax of the episode, Mr. Krabs and Plankton ends up kidnapping Dopey Dick so they could use his jelly to make profit out of it. So SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, I'm sorry, Squidward. Yeah, I'm sorry if this review is all over the place. I apologize for making all these mistakes here, but they all go out to stop Mr. Krabs and the anchovies, who were their seamen at first, until they decided to split ways with SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward to go join forces with Mr. Krabs. So Dopey Dick ends up saving SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, ending off the episode where Mr. Krabs tells Squidward that they all survived Dopey Dick, and then we get to see Dopey Dick working at the saloon that Squidward was trying to get a job at. So yeah, that's my review on Dopey Dick. I apologize for all the mistakes I've made. That's common with my reviews. If I do make a mistake, be sure to know that I will be apologetic. So I'm going to go ahead and end off this review. What are your thoughts about this episode? If you've seen it, do let me know in the comments below. And yeah, so next week is going to be Patrick Star's Show episodes. So starting on July 3rd. And I don't know if, and I will let you guys know on this, I will not be able to watch the first episode of the new Patrick Star Show episodes next week, is because I'll be coming home from my Independence Day weekend. I am going to be away this weekend for Independence Day, so I will not be able to watch the first episode of the new Patrick Star Show episodes coming out next week. So I will watch the new episode whenever I get a chance to, so please be patient on that. So with that said, this has been EB the Sponge Reviewer, and I'll see you guys next time with more reviews. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and it's that time of week again. It is time for new episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants, and today I'm here to review the new episode that just came out today, Plankton and the Beanstalk. So yeah, this is the third episode of SpongeBob that parodies a fairy tale, first being Patnocchio in season 11, and we also had the Big Bad Bubble Bass, also from this season, season 13. So, in this episode, it's basically a Jack and the Beanstalk parody, where Plankton plays as Jack, where he ends up selling his penny, for a magic bean, instead of, buying food with it. And what's really unique about this episode is the way how the characters were portrayed. So, Plankton, like I've stated earlier, was portrayed as Jack. Karen in this episode is a clock. Mr. Krabs plays as the giant. SpongeBob is the golden goose in the episode. Well, or in the story, that is, in the Jack and the Beanstalk story. And Squidward's only role in this episode was as the harp that Mr. Krabs plays in the episode. So yeah, this was a really fun episode because I love it when SpongeBob does these fairy tale parodies since Patnocchio, and this was a really fun episode seeing the SpongeBob characters portraying these fairy tales, and they also did a good job portraying Jack and the Beanstalk, where Mr. Krabs becomes the giant, and he basically uses SpongeBob's golden Krabby Patties that he lays to make a restaurant out of it, basically. So yeah, this was a pretty short episode. It didn't feel all that long. It actually felt like a pretty short episode, and it was nice. It was short and sweet, and it was really fun. So yeah, so that's all I can say about this episode. It was really fun, and I am looking forward to seeing them do more parodies of fairy tales. The next episode I can see them do is a Goldilocks and the Three Bears parody, and they can do it with Sandy, because that'll be really fun. Alright, so that is my review on Plankton and the Beanstalk. I'll see you guys tomorrow with my friend Patty. And yeah, so I'd like to thank you all for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob SquarePants episode, My Friend Patty. And I have to say that this episode actually had some turn of events that I wasn't expecting, but I'm glad that it actually happened in this episode. So in this episode of SpongeBob, Sandy, yes, that's the most unexpected part I was experiencing with this episode actually makes another appearance in season 13. So she comes to the Krusty Krab and she shows off SpongeBob her new invention, which anthropomizes inanimate objects. So she comes into the Krusty Krab with this ray gun, and whenever she shoots at inanimate objects, it turns them into anthropomorphic characters. So she basically turns a Krabby Patty that SpongeBob hands her into an anthropomorphic Krabby Patty, and SpongeBob tries to be friends with it. But the Krabby Patty's main goal is to be eaten. So SpongeBob tries whatever it takes for him not to let the Krabby Patty get eaten, but the Krabby Patty wants to be eaten because that's what a Krabby Patty is known for. So throughout this whole episode, we get these crazy hijinks of SpongeBob and the Krabby Patty doing fun things together while the Krabby Patty wants to be eaten. Some of those moments in the episode is the return of Goofy Goobers. So yeah, that was pretty cool. We also get to hear the Goofy Goobers song from the SpongeBob movie. And another cool thing about this episode was the Goofy Goober Sunrise, which is this ice cream that has a smiley face on it. We actually got a chance to see it if it was a frowny face. I thought that was pretty cool. There's a part in the episode where SpongeBob and the Krabby Patty ends up at a daycare center where these babies were trying to eat the Krabby Patty, but SpongeBob ends up beating them up just for the Krabby Patty not to get eaten. And yeah, this whole episode had a lot of crazy antics with SpongeBob and the Krabby Patty. So there is one more thing I want to bring up really quickly, and that is regarding to SpongeBob Archives. I think that's the name of the Twitter account on Twitter. The account posted this picture of a poorly drawn. It was like this drawing. It's kind of like this poorly drawn marker character of SpongeBob and the Krabby Patty, and this scene didn't appear in the episode because if you guys don't know that, the SpongeBob Archives Twitter account, I think that's the name of the account. They usually post screenshots of the upcoming episodes, but for whatever reason, this picture that he posted didn't appear in the episode. So I would like to give a huge shout out to another friend of mine, Luke. If you guys don't know who he is, he's one of my Discord friends. He was right, and this particular screenshot or drawing that SpongeBob Archives posted onto Twitter never happened in the episode. So, Luke, if you're watching this video, you are right about that, and I give you all of my supports. So yeah, overall, my friend Patty, this episode was pretty good, but I wouldn't say it was the best of the season because, it was a unique episode having Sandy involved with the whole Krabby Patty coming to life thing, but I wouldn't say it was anything crazy because this episode kind of felt very similar to Patrick Takes the Cake from Camp Coral, where in that episode, Patrick steals a piece of cake, and I think the cake wanted to be eaten. I think that's what the premise was, but I can't remember because I've only seen it one time and I didn't go back and rewatch it. But I'm pretty sure the cake in that episode wanted to be eaten. So this concept of my friend Patty was very similar to that episode. So yeah, it was a decent episode, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite of the season, but it was pretty decent seeing Sandy being involved. And oh yeah, there is one more funny thing I want to bring up about this episode, and it made me laugh pretty hard, and it was Sandy. She was just relaxing. She was just complimenting herself about her being the smartest girl in Bikini Bottom. And then she just freaking just falls off of her chair. And then this one customer in the background was just like, yeah, whatever. And then he eats his Krabby Patty. That scene made me laugh because it was really funny. Just hearing Sandy saying, oh, I'm the smartest squirrel in Bikini Bottom. She just falls off of her seat. Like the table just falls over, and then not the table, the chair just falls over, and then she's not even getting up. Like, I just found that scene to be really funny. But yeah, overall, that was my review on My Friend Patty. Once again, it was a pretty decent episode. Not my favorite of the season, but it was pretty solid. Okay, so tomorrow's episode is going to be, I'm trying to think. Is it Fun Believable or that's on? Yeah, it's Fun Believable. So Fun Believable comes out tomorrow, and I will be reviewing that episode. So stay tuned for that review, and I'll see you guys next time with that review, of course. So goodbye, everyone. Sorry for the weird ending, but yeah, goodbye. Hello, everyone. This is EB, the Original Master here, and today I'm going to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob episode, Fun Believable. So in this episode, it's about Rube Goldfish, who is The character that was introduced in the episode No Pictures Please is basically going around Bikini Bottom finding weird oddities among the citizens of Bikini Bottom with Fun Believable with Rube. So this episode was pretty fun. There were some really fun moments of this episode, and I would like to bring up some of those moments in this episode. And yeah, Sandy's back. I'm really happy that Sandy is appearing more and more in these later season 13 episodes, because she was in the last episode, which was My Friend Patty, and it was good seeing her again. Her role in this episode was she was basically fitting a lot of nuts in her mouth, basically, and so yeah, that was pretty funny seeing Sandy trying to put all these acorns in her mouth. There's another part in the episode where we see Prunes and her mother Mary from Chocolate with Nuts. Prune basically talks about herself being the oldest person in Bikini Bottom, and there was this one scene in the episode where they were flying a helicopter where they found Perch Perkins and his grandmother, where the grandmother claimed that she was the oldest, being only 115 years old, while Prunes was a year older, being 116. So they have a helicopter duel in the sky, and they end up crashing their helicopters and whatnot. And yeah, so there's a gag or a running joke in this episode where SpongeBob and Patrick were trying to talk to Rube about them doing their little antic. Yeah, that was like this running gag in the episode. And yeah. So yeah, overall, Fun Believable was a pretty fun episode. It was quite enjoyable seeing Rube Goldfish going around through Bikini Bottom, talking about all of the oddities there, and it was a really fun time. Alright, so tomorrow's episode is Spatula of the Heavens, and I will let you guys know that tomorrow is my big wisdom teeth surgery. So I don't know if I will be able to review the episode when I get a chance to watch it, because my mouth might be numbed from the surgery, but I'm hoping I can be able to talk, or I might have to just rest a little bit. But if I do end up watching the episode, I will try to talk. I will try to review the episode if I feel better, but I'm not sure on that because this is my first time experiencing this. So if I'm not able to review Spatula of the Heavens tomorrow, then you will understand why. So that's all I'm here to let you guys know. So thank you all for watching, and cross my fingers I will be able to review the episode tomorrow after my surgery. So yeah. So goodbye everyone. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob episode, Spatula of the Heavens. And yes, if you notice that my lips have a little bit of blood on it, that's because I had my surgery today. It went pretty well, and my mouth has somewhat recovered. I'm able to speak normally, and I will be giving you guys my review on this episode. So once I'm done with this review, I am going to take care of my lips, but for the time being, ignore them for right now. So in this episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob is working at the Krusty Krab, and he ends up breaking a spatula. So he goes on this quest to search for another spatula, or to replace the one that he accidentally broke. So this episode was fine, if I'm going to be totally honest. It wasn't anything special in terms of the way how SpongeBob tried to fix his spatula. So there was this new character in this episode, which was this sensei character who was up in the heavens. And so yeah, SpongeBob basically goes on top of a mountain summit to where he basically learns the ways of fixing his spatula. So if there's some good moments that I have to say about this episode, is that Sponge Tom from Broken Alarm returned in this episode. That was pretty cool. And we also got to see Rube Goldfish again. But other than that, those are the only good moments of this episode. And this episode was alright, in my opinion. So that's all I have to say right now is because that as I'm talking right now, my mouth is kind of feeling a little bit in pain right now, so I'm going to have to cut this review short. So yeah, that's my review on Spatula of the Heavens. There is going to be new episodes coming out next week. In fact, next week is going to be the last week of season 1 of the Patrick Star Show. So I will be reviewing those episodes tomorrow, and hopefully my mouth is fully recovered by then. If not, I will still try to review the episode the best way I can. So this has been Evie the Sponge Reviewer signing out, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hello, everyone. This is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm finally here to give you guys my proper review on Gary's Playhouse. If you guys weren't aware that yesterday, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to see all of Gary's Playhouse because we had inclement weather last night, but the weather is a lot nicer today, so that means I will be able to watch the other new episode that's coming out later today. But today I'm just here to give you guys my proper review on Gary's Playhouse. So a little recap from yesterday's video. Gary's Playhouse is an episode where SpongeBob builds Gary a playhouse for him to play in so he can have his own space away from SpongeBob, to the point where Gary ends up having too much fun inside of his playhouse, where he invites his friends over, which are his animal friends, to play house with him. So Spot, Plankton's pet, is in this episode. He pretends to be Gary in this episode, whereas Gary himself pretends to be SpongeBob, and Gary invites a sea urchin and another snail to play as Squidward and Patrick, respectively. And we had a sea bunny in this episode who portrayed Mr. Krabs later in the episode. So yeah, this was a really fun episode. It was a pretty good episode. Just seeing Gary hanging out with his animal friends, pretending to be SpongeBob and the others, and it was really fun. And the running gag of this episode is SpongeBob and the others finding the moments with Gary to be really cute. And yes, that was the whole running gag with this episode. But the part that I really enjoyed the most was the Help Wanted reference. They actually did a really good reenactment of the climax of Help Wanted, where SpongeBob enters the Krusty Krab with that hydraulic spatula that was portrayed in this episode. And actually, not only they did a reference to the episode, they actually had like a continuity thing where Mr. Krabs actually talks to SpongeBob about the time that he first got his job at the Krusty Krab. So SpongeBob does indeed have continuity whenever it needs to in an episode. So yeah, overall, Gary's Playhouse, now that I've seen the full episode and got the full understanding and the context of it, this was a really fun episode. It was really cute, and it was really good because it was a really fun episode seeing Gary pretending to be SpongeBob with his animal friends pretending to be the other characters. And another good thing I really liked about this episode was Squidward, because Squidward, for once, he was a little bit jerky in the episode, but he became a lot more nicer when he noticed that the sea urchin who was portraying as him to be really cute, so he just decided to play along with SpongeBob and Patrick. And Mr. Krabs came in later in the episode, and he joined along too because he was wondering where SpongeBob and Squidward were at because they were late for work that previous day. But yeah, that's all I have to say with Gary's Playhouse. So there is going to be another review later this afternoon, on Swimming Fools. It's because that's the episode that's coming out later today at 5 p.m. Eastern. And since the weather is looking a little nicer today, I'm hoping that it doesn't rain again today. I'm hoping that the weather remains nice throughout this whole day, because I will have to hate to have another incident where the weather becomes bad and then it affects the satellite. But right now, the weather looks nice, so I'm hoping that it stays that way throughout the rest of the day. So that is my review on Gary's Playhouse. What are your thoughts of this episode now that I gave out a proper review of it? Do let me know in the comments below. So until next time, I will see you guys later again this afternoon with my review on Swimming Fools. So goodbye, everyone.
Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm here to give you guys my review on the new episode of SpongeBob, The Goob Father. So, this episode, at first, it was pretty, fine, I guess, but the climax of the episode made up for it. So, in this episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob invents a new menu item to the Krusty Krab known as the Patty Whip, which is supposed to be green ice cream that they serve, and the Goob Father comes in and tries to run Mr. Krabs out of business by telling him he's not allowed to serve patty whips because he is the father of ice cream of Goofy Goobers, basically. So yeah, like I stated earlier, the first half of the episode was pretty fine because it was just the Goob Father and his bodyguards coming into the Krusty Krab, destroying the restaurant, and the Goob Father saying, "Leave the ice cream making to me," something like that, and then he just walks away. This happens twice in the episode, and I found those segments to be fine, I guess, because it really wasn't all that interesting, if I want to be honest. But the climax made up for it when Mr. Krabs and the Goob Father had this epic brawl with their restaurants to claim dominance. And yeah, so that's where the episode actually gets a little bit better, and it was well executed as well. So my final rating for the Goob Father, I think I'll probably give this episode an okay because of that weak opening, but it all made up for it for the end. So this episode was just okay, in my opinion. It wasn't anything crazy or anything. I wouldn't say it was anything all that special, but it kind of was nice seeing Goofy Goobers again. And I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, they're just bringing back these locations for nostalgia pandering. And if I want to be totally honest, there's nothing, in my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with them bringing back old locations that we haven't seen in a long time, is because that it actually gives us more variety in world building, because I would rather see Goofy Goobers, I would rather see Bunny Buns than seeing the Krusty Krab 1,000 times, because the Krusty Krab is like the main eatery in SpongeBob, but it's nice seeing the fancy restaurant, Goofy Goobers or whatever, come back in the show, because it'll give us more variety of locations instead of seeing the Krusty Krab thousands of times already. So you pick your poison. Would you rather see the Krusty Krab over and over again, or would you rather see Goofy Goobers, Fancy, or Bunny Buns? That's your choice. But yeah, so that's my review on the Goob Father. It was pretty okay, and that's all I have to say for the episode. Okay, so tomorrow's episode is going to be the last episode of the week, and that's going to be on Squidward. Be on the lookout for that review tomorrow. And yeah, this has been EB the Sponge Reviewer, signing out. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob SquarePants episode of this week's premiere of episodes, Swimming Fools. So yeah, I got a chance to watch this episode in its entirety. The weather is a little bit overcast outside, but it wasn't raining or anything, so the TV was just fine today. But yeah, so in this episode, SpongeBob builds a swimming pool in his backyard, and Squidward's dreams was to have his very own swimming pool. But there were some parts in the episode where at first Squidward didn't think he needed the idea for a swimming pool, but then because of his jealousy, he decides that he wanted to have his own pool, but he does so by actually trespassing onto SpongeBob's pool. So yeah, this episode was pretty fun. I really did enjoy this episode, and I did like the visuals that this episode had. Some of my favorite moments of this episode was the pool itself. There's a part in the episode where Squidward was asleep that night, and then the pool started talking to him. He was like having like this dream sequence where the pool was taunting him for him to come in. So Squidward then ends up diving into the pool. There's another part in the episode where Squidward had this fantasy of him in SpongeBob's pool with these other cephalopods. There were the other Squidward characters in this episode that Squidward fantasizes. And the ending of the episode was really funny. But I won't spoil the ending, but all I'll say is that the ending is pretty comical and it's really fun. So yeah, Patrick is in this episode. He joins in SpongeBob's pool, so they're the ones who are swimming in the pool while Squidward is trying to trespass onto their pool. But yeah, overall, Swimming Fools, this was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. It was really a unique episode of SpongeBob building his own swimming pool in his house. I really like it when the writers at SpongeBob comes up with unique ideas for these characters to indulge in, and this is no exception. All right, so tomorrow's episode, I think tomorrow's episode is called The Godfather or something like that, but I think that's what tomorrow's episode is going to be about. But yeah, so that episode review will be out tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching my review on Swimming Fools, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with The Godfather, or whatever the episode is titled. But yeah, so goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm here to give you guys my review on the new episode of SpongeBob, The Goob Father. So, this episode, at first, it was pretty, fine, I guess, but, the climax of the episode made up for it. So, in this episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob invents a new menu item to the Krusty Krab known as the Patty Whip, which is supposed to be green ice cream that they serve, and the Goob Father comes in and tries to run Mr. Krabs out of business by telling him he's not allowed to serve Patty Whips because he is the father of ice cream of Goofy Goobers, basically. So yeah, like I stated earlier, the first half of the episode was pretty fine because it was just the Goob Father and his bodyguards coming into the Krusty Krab, destroying the restaurant, and the Goob Father saying, "Leave the ice cream making to me," something like that, and then he just walks away. This happens twice in the episode, and I found those segments to be fine, I guess, because it really wasn't all that interesting, if I want to be honest. But the climax made up for it when Mr. Krabs and the Goob Father had this epic brawl with their restaurants to claim dominance. And yeah, so that's where the episode actually gets a little bit better, and it was well executed as well. So my final rating for the Goob Father, I think I'll probably give this episode an okay because of that weak opening, but it all made up for it for the end. So this episode was just okay, in my opinion. It wasn't anything crazy or anything. I wouldn't say it was anything all that special, but it kind of was nice seeing Goofy Goobers again. And I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, they're just bringing back these locations for nostalgia pandering. And if I want to be totally honest, there's nothing, in my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with them bringing back old locations that we haven't seen in a long time, is because that it actually gives us more variety in world building, because I would rather see Goofy Goobers, I would rather see Bunny Buns than seeing the Krusty Krab 1,000 times, because the Krusty Krab is like the main eatery in SpongeBob, but it's nice seeing the fancy restaurant, Goofy Goobers or whatever, come back in the show, because it'll give us more variety of locations instead of seeing the Krusty Krab thousands of times already. So you pick your poison. Would you rather see the Krusty Krab over and over again, or would you rather see Goofy Goobers, Fancy, or Bunny Buns? That's your choice. But yeah, so that's my review on the Goob Father. It was pretty okay, and that's all I have to say for the episode. Okay, so tomorrow's episode is going to be the last episode of the week, and that's going to be on Squidward. Be on the lookout for that review tomorrow. And yeah, this has been EB the Sponge Reviewer, signing out. Hello, everyone. This is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and tonight I'm here to give you guys my review on the new SpongeBob episode and the last episode for this week of new episodes, Squidward. So in this episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob and Patrick are sending messages to each other from clams, and whenever the clams interact with Squidward, they attack him. So it's up to SpongeBob and Patrick to teach the clams to not hurt Squidward whenever he's in the picture. So, if I want to be honest, this is another fine episode, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. The episode concept is a little interesting, I guess, but not really because it's just SpongeBob and Patrick sending each other messages with clams, and the clams kept attacking Squidward and whatnot. And to be honest, I found those moments to be pretty fine, I guess. But and yeah, there really wasn't that much gags in this episode. It was just the clams just attacking Squidward and whatnot, and it's really not all that funny most of the time. But yeah, so and then the big climax at the end was unique in a way, and then the ending was a little bit weird when the clams literally just took Squidward's house away and just dropped his house into a volcano, and that's just how the episode just ends like that. But yeah, so overall, Squidward, if I want to be totally honest, it was just a fine episode in my opinion. It was nothing special in my opinion. It didn't wow me like the previous episodes of the season did, like Dopey Dick or Hot Cross Nuts or anything like that. But yeah, was just an okay episode. It was okay. It wasn't anything offensive in my opinion, but I just found this episode just to be okay and nothing else than that. Okay, so that is my review on Squidward. There is going to be new episodes coming out the week after the next on the Patrick Star Show. I will be reviewing those at a later time. It's because that the week after the next, I will be starting school again. Yes, I'm letting you guys know with some in real life stuff. I will be starting school again the week after the next. So yeah, so I will be reviewing those episodes once I'm finished with whatever I have to do that day. And yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with the new episodes of the Patrick Star Show coming out the week after. So goodbye, everyone.
Hello everyone, this is EB the Sponge Reviewer here, and today I'm here to give you guys a SpongeBob SquarePants episode review. So today I'm here to review the episode Allergy Attack, and if you guys are not aware, the last 3 episodes of Season 13 apparently has been leaked out somewhere in a different country somewhere, but I'm here to give you guys my review on those episodes, even though these episodes are premiering in the United States and Nickelodeon towards the last week of October. But anyways, I'm going to give you guys my review on this episode. So there's going to be 3 reviews coming out today on the last 3 episodes of Season 13. So expect 3 uploads happening today. So anyways, in this episode, SpongeBob begins to get an allergic reaction to Krabby Patties when he is out cooking his gazillionth Krabby Patty. So in order to fix this, Mr. Krabs orders SpongeBob to return home from work, but then every time he steps foot into the restaurant, he becomes even more sick. So Sandy comes along, and she built SpongeBob a suit so he could cook Krabby Patties so he doesn't get allergic to them. So at first, this episode was pretty okay at first, but then everything picked up once Sandy came along and her suit, and this is where the episode, in my opinion, gets a little bit interesting, seeing SpongeBob in his new state of him cooking Krabby Patties inside of Sandy's new invention. And so it turns out at the end that it was Squidward's cologne that made everyone allergic to. Well, what I'm trying to say is that it turns out that it was Squidward's cologne that ended up making everyone getting all rashes and measles and whatnot. So they basically can return back to their normal lives, enjoying Krabby Patties again. I'm sorry if this review is all over the place. It's just because that I have a strange way of wording things, so if it doesn't seem like I'm making any sense here, I do want to apologize, but I'm trying my best to provide this review. So all I'm saying is that Allergy Attack, this episode was pretty decent. I did like the ending of SpongeBob sucking everyone inside the suit. And yeah, so if you want to avoid spoilers for this review, I highly suggest you don't watch this review, because I'm not, like I've stated many times, I am not going to provide the links to these episodes. So if you do want to watch this episode on its air date, then you're going to have to wait until October 30. No, October 30th. Yeah, it's October 30th is when this episode is going to be airing in the United States. So if you want to avoid any spoilers, do not watch this review because I did spoil the ending. But that's all I'm here to let you guys know. So that's my review on Allergy Attack. This episode was decent, and I somewhat enjoyed it, especially towards the ending. Alright, so stay tuned later today for my review on the next episode of Big Top Flop. I'm going to be watching that episode right now, so I will see you guys then. So this has been Evie the Sponge Reviewer, and I'll see you guys in a few with my review on Big Top Flop. So goodbye, everyone. Hey guys, welcome back to another back-to-back SpongeBob SquarePants review. In the last video, I reviewed Allergy Attack, and right now I'm going to give you guys my review on Big Top Flop. So in this episode, the circus comes to town in Bikini Bottom and drives away Mr. Krabs' customers. And it's up to Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward to sabotage the show so they can bring back the customers. So this episode was really fun. I really enjoyed all of the circus episodes that SpongeBob has done ever since Don't Feed the Clowns back in season 11. And I might have to say that this probably might be my favorite of the circus theme episodes because of how unique it was. So the new character in this episode, which is this Krabs ringmaster, he was a pretty interesting character because he kind of served as the villain character because he kind of had like a snarky voice, and he was the one responsible for driving away Mr. Krabs' customers to the circus so he can make profit. And I really enjoyed his character. He was a really fun character. And I really liked the circus act in this episode, such as SpongeBob on a unicycle being one of those dancer things or whatever those actors are called on the circus or whatever. But yeah. And you got Squidward as a depressed clown. And you had Patrick dressed up as a sea bear, which was pretty fun. And you had, of course, Mr. Krabs pretending to be the ringmaster and whatnot. So, yeah, this was a fun episode. I really digged it. And I really enjoyed the climax between Mr. Krabs and the ringmaster, the actual ringmaster. That was a really fun surprise to see. So, yeah, overall, this was a fun episode. I really enjoyed Big Top Flop. Alright, so that's my review. I know it was rather short, but that's all I have to say with the episode. So yeah. So there's one more episode left that I'm going to review really quickly after I watch it, of course, and that is Sandy Help Us, which is going to be another fun one because I can't wait to see what this one's all about. So until next time, everyone, this has been Evie the Sponge Reviewer, and I'll see you guys with my review on Sandy Help Us in just a few. So goodbye, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Evie the Sponge Reviewer here, and I'm back with my final episode review for today, and that is Sandy Help Us from SpongeBob. So this episode was really fun. I'm not gonna lie. I actually really enjoyed this episode because I really enjoyed the concept of the episode. There were some really funny moments in the episode that I found to be quite enjoyable. And I'm here to give you guys my thoughts of the episode. So, and on this episode, Sandy goes around helping everyone in Bikini Bottom, and while she's doing an experiment, and later in the episode, Sandy ends up having a huge problem on her own from her experiment, and she gets the help from someone else to deal with the situation. So, I'm sorry, this was a really fun episode, if I want to be honest. I had a great time with this episode because there were some really funny moments in this episode that just made me laugh out loud. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up some of those moments. So, SpongeBob comes in. He was the first to get helped on. And he was having a hard time trying to turn off his alarm clock. And the solution was to just put some force into it because Sandy explained that because SpongeBob had really short fingers and he couldn't turn off his alarm clock, she ends up grabbing him and just slams him onto the ground, and he just breaks his thumb.
That was so out of left field. It just had a huge laugh out of me because it was just that funny. Just to see just Sandy just slamming SpongeBob on the ground just to break his thumb so he could put enough force to turn off his alarm clock. And that was a really funny moment in the episode. Another highlight of the episode is Sandy's brain. Like there were moments in the episode where we cut to Sandy's brain, where you got like a miniature sized Sandy, with these high pitched voices to give her the idea to think for her to help out her friends throughout the episode. So yeah, that was another moment in the episode that I really enjoyed. And the climax was really cool too, where we get to see Narlene again. Yes, Narlene plays a big role at the episode's climax, which I really enjoyed. So that was a really cool pair up, seeing Sandy and Narlene work together to stop Pecan Sandy, which was the giant Sandy at the end of the episode, who was this buffed Sandy who would destroy stuff because Sandy asked her to do simple chores like taking out the garbage and cleaning dishes and whatnot. So yeah, overall, this was a fun episode. All so far. Oh, I'm sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what I was trying to go there, but what I'm trying to say is that this was a fun episode. I enjoyed it, and overall, season 13 had some hits, had some misses, but overall, the season was pretty decent. It was a pretty decent season. There were some huge highlighters like Sandy's. Well, hold on, Hot Cross Nuts, for example. That was a really fun episode. Dopey Dick. Just name a few highlights of the season. And yeah, so that's season 13, you guys. I will be doing a compilation video for this season. It will most likely be the last one I'll do because I'm not going to do a compilation video for every season that I review because I don't know if I'll review every small episode that comes out. I might, but we have to wait and see on that. But with that said, that's my review on Sandy Help Us. Once again, these episodes will be airing in the United States on October 30th, 31st, and November 1st, respectively, for these episodes. So again, if you want to avoid any spoilers, and if you would like to see these episodes on your own time, if they do air in the United States and on Nickelodeon, then you'll have a time to do so. But if you have seen these episodes and you do want to hear my reviews on them, these videos will be for you to see. So until we meet again, I will be reviewing the first episode of season 14 on November 2nd. So that's when I'll come back to review another SpongeBob episode. And of course, I'll be reviewing the new Patrick Star Show episode as well that comes out later this month. And yeah, not this month, next month, I meant. Yeah, my mistake there. But yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more reviews.